Hi guys, it's Cesara. I wanted to talk to you. I've been receiving questions about singleness and how to deal with certain temptations. So I wanted to address some of the questions. Some people might be a little bit embarrassed to talk openly about them, so I figured I'd make a videotape and actually a video series about a couple of the questions. I want to start with the first one. My first one is, and thank you from Virginia. Thank you for your question. It says, I hate to bother you with such insignificant things, but I'm struggling with love, romantic love. I really don't believe that God intends for me to be married, although it's a desire. So how am I to live holy, denying sexual temptations or just the desire of male companionship? I'm actually reading from a card. Lady in Virginia. So first, I don't want you to ever think that you're bothering me or that what you're asking me is insignificant. I can guarantee you that if it's something that concerns you, then it concerns others, and it definitely concerns God. So never think you're a bother and never think that your questions are insignificant. So the first part that I wanted to address, it says, I really don't believe that God intends for me to be married, although it's a desire. So my question first is, why do you believe that God does not intend for you to be married? I'm not saying that you're off. I just want to know why, and I want to make sure that you are 100% certain that that's the case. I don't want you to think that just because you may be of a certain age now, or that you continue to meet men and the relationship just comes to nothing. I don't want you to think that that's a sign that means that you're not meant to be married. So I want to be very, very clear, and I actually want you to be very, very clear that you're not meant to be married. It's interesting in my case. In my case, I've never wanted to be married, but I knew that it was God's desire for me to be married, and I did fight it for a long time because I was like, no, God, why would you want me to be married when we can spend lots of time together and we can do lots of things in ministry and we can just love on each other constantly. And now you're just trying to pawn me off, and it hurt my feelings. And so it was actually God having to really duke it out with me. And so as I was fighting him not wanting to be married, he was constantly telling me, oh yes, it's my perfect will for you to be married. So it was a constant kind of butting heads between God and I, but now I submit to that. So I'm still single, but whatever God's will is, and I know his will is marriage, so I totally submit to that and I don't fight. But my point is that I am 100% certain of God's designs for my life in terms of marriage. So I want you to be 100% certain that he doesn't want you to be married, okay? So number 2, I want to address, how am I to live holy, denying sexual temptations or just the desire of male companionship? So, number 1, let's talk about sex. Sex is a God-given blessing. It's a God-given blessing to create beautiful children who are to be warriors of God. Sex is this intimacy between a husband and wife. So God created us as sexual beings in the proper context, in a holy context, and that holy context is between a husband and a wife, and being able to do whatever they want, whenever they want, however they want, but don't go to jail, not following certain privacy laws and public laws. But anyhow, so Hebrews chapter 13, verse 4 says that marriage is honorable amongst all. The bed is undefiled, but fornicators and adulterers God will judge. And he's daddy, right? He's a good parent. So of course he's going to judge us, just like your parents judge you when you do things that are not right. They're going to judge you. But again, sex is not meant to be something that's seen as horrible or bad. It's just meant to be um, put in the right context. So until then, what are some of the things that you can do to make sure that you are not into a place where you're being tempted by this natural desire? So, the first thing that I would say is one of my friends told me that I absolutely loved when she told me. She said that, when you're starting to get that feeling, like that sexual desire, the first thing to do is get out of bed. Get out in the morning times, get out of bed. Don't stay in the same place that you're in. If you're starting to feel that temptation, don't stay in the same place that you're in. Um, so get out of bed and start doing things that can keep you busy. Whether it doesn't matter. If you need to get out of the house, get out of the house and get your mind off of it. Eventually that desire will wane, but it does take effort. It does take effort to control it. Um, and especially I know for speaking as a woman, there are times of the month where the body wants to naturally create children. And so you start getting a desire to start creating. But it's not because you're thinking wrong, it's that it's a natural process of the body saying, okay, it's time to get pregnant now. So, all right. So you start catching certain feelings. Um, and you're like, whoa, where is this coming from? Because I'm not thinking about sex. I'm not thinking about anything. But again, it's how, it's cyclical for a woman to, when their body is preparing for a baby, and that happens every month. So don't let that condemn you. Understand it's a natural process. But again, we have to make sure that we know how to control it. So certain things that I completely live by is, number one, if I'm going out with a male, try not to ever go out one-on-one with them. Especially if there's someone that you have a crush on, don't go out one-on-one with them. Make sure that it's a context of a group. So let it be a group of friends going out together so that the temptation can't be there, because you're not going to embarrass yourself when you have a whole bunch of people around you. So keep if you want to go out or go to the movies or something, go out with groups of people. If you're going to go to a restaurant, go out with groups of people. Make it so that it's not a date, but that it's just a date with everybody, all of your friends, and that you're able to you're not obligated to just be one-on-one with that guy. You have other friends there that you can talk to as well, so it keeps things disciplined. um, and again, stay in public places. Don't be one-on-one with the guy in a private location. I mean, there are times where you can't help it, and you may end up being in a position where you have to be one-on-one um, with a guy for whatever reason. I don't know what circumstance, but if you can limit the one-on-one time with that guy, limit it. But if it's in a circumstance where you can't help it, make sure you're in a public place. Don't allow the male to come into your house. If you're a grown adult and you live alone, don't let him come in your house. For me, I prefer only women to come into my house. I'm attracted to men, right? So because of that, I make sure that men do not come into my house. Now, the men that I do allow in my house are men who've known me for many, 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 many years. Like men who've known me since I was a little girl, or men who've known me for more than 10 years. Um, and most of the time, they're allowed in my house when other people are in my house. Um, but other than that, if I know that they've known me, like I said, since I was a little girl, and I know they have no intentions whatsoever, then I if they end up having to come, like maybe I'm sick and they're bringing me groceries or something, I might let them in. But if it's someone that I have a crush on, or someone that I've met recently, no, they're not allowed in my house at all. I don't care if I'm sick or not and you're bringing me something or not. No, You can't come in. You have to drop it off with the reception desk downstairs, and I'll pick it up, or I'll come downstairs and I'll get it from downstairs. So I don't allow, as much as I can help it, I don't allow men in my house. Uh, Definitely don't let them into your bedroom ever. Even if you have a lot of people that's in your house and you're having fun, with a whole group of friends. If you want to steal away and talk to the guy, the bedroom is completely off limits. Don't go into the male's bedroom if you're at his house, and don't go to his house if there aren't other people there. I don't care under what circumstances, don't do it. Again, your job is to make sure that you're operating off of self-control, and the best way to do that is not putting yourself into a mode of temptation in the first place, having to fight to get out. Because if you place yourself in temptation, even if you're like, oh no, this is innocent, it's not a big deal, oh, I guarantee you'll lose the battle. You will. You'll lose the battle.